name is Kenneth Hopkins, and I have the privilege of hosting a podcast called Perpetual Good. And right now we're on a break, but this also gives me the opportunity to speak to people about what they're doing in other areas, not just about just good things that they're doing, but how they are conducting business and how they are interfacing with other people. So I have the privilege of knowing Vince McCassell, and we're going to be focusing on Vince today. Vince is the chief marketer, chief partner at Measurable Marketing. And we're going to talk about some of the things that he has been able to do over his history with business development. And I also have the privilege of having John Shaw, who is a serial founder, serial entrepreneur who has started many businesses. We're going to talk about the relationship that the two of them have had and how they have been able to work together to further some of the things that John was doing in his business, and even how some of the tools that can be used when they're used right, they can cause a business to flourish. And when those tools are forsaken, sometimes those things don't necessarily work out. So Vince, John, it's great to have you, and I'm looking forward to learning more from you as we talk.
Great, glad to be here.
Likewise.
So Vince, just starting off with you, just tell us a little bit about measurable marketing, what it is that you're doing, and how you got started in doing this. What is your passion within business development?
Well, I'm originally a sales and marketing guy. I started out selling office equipment, and that's how I really got on the journey. Because a question arose after I was highly successful at copier sales, office equipment sales. And I woke up one day and they said, Salesman of the Month is Vince McCassell. He made 33 sales in 15 days. And gentlemen, I didn't know how I did that. So I was just driven and very tired. And I said to myself, there's got to be an easier way. And so in answering that question for myself, I tried some things. I tried to do direct mail and postcards and stuff, and it didn't work. But I knew I had this insight that it's not because it doesn't work. It's because I'm not particularly knowledgeable on how to work it. And so from there, I started, I went out on my own, did some freelance marketing and began to learn, and started a business at that time in 1993, which was called Mercury Media. Mercury Media, Ken and John, led me to discover direct marketing. And when I was reading David Ogilvy's book on advertising, he described the discipline I was looking for and gave it a name, which was direct marketing. And so when he gave it that name, I went on an additional search, discovered a school at the University of Missouri that was training people in direct marketing, obtained a certification from it, and expanded my ability to practice direct marketing. And it's just been a lot of fun, a lot of successes along the way, and really great insights on how to formulate marketing and sales programs. But part of the reason why we're here is to talk about the business development. And along the way, I had this great coach named Jacqueline Simon, who was an MBA, who taught me business development. And from her, I learned, more about strategy and how to implement those strategies within a business. And so hence we're here to talk about something that I have provided to my clients for years, but never really made it a distinct and separate service to provide more of it and be, if you will, more effective at delivering it.
Okay. Okay. And now, John, you've known Vince for quite some time, and you've been able to use some of the techniques that he has offered to you. Let's just back up a little bit. Tell us a little bit about yourself. So you are. I live up in Portland. There are a number of people up here. It's become kind of a haven for a lot of businesses, a lot of founders. And so just hearing a little bit about yourself, you have started just a number of businesses. You founded a number of businesses. Tell us a little bit about that.
I think that I have to go back to a journey that I've been on and didn't really know I was on a journey until 2000. And that journey was addressing a legacy. I'm an immigrant from Selma, Alabama. I'm a product of the civil rights.
Okay.
And having an engineering background, not something that I ever wanted to do, but I was pushed in that direction because others could see in me what I couldn't see in myself. And turned out I was very good at it. What was really thrilling for me was problem definition. That when you can define a problem, you can fix most things if you can define it. That then became a larger mission that grew out from design engineer to marketing promotion to manufacturing to operations to finance and administration. And in all of those segments, it's about problem definition.
Right.
So I started to look for problems to solve. I started to literally look for problems to solve. I'm also a golfer and a swimmer. I look for problems to solve even in my leisure, because when you can solve a problem, there's a lot of momentum there. Plus, there's a lot of new information, not information, but new information that creates the aspiration and the inspiration. So if you're looking for something new, whenever something gets old or something goes bad, I automatically look for something new. I'm looking for a problem to solve.
Okay.
That in the industry for 38 years led me to not planning, but other people again could see in me what I couldn't see in myself. They became my mentor.
Okay.
And they helped me to get into these positions. In the last year, 15 years in the industry, my wife and I were in Fiji on vacation. When we arrived back here in the States, I had been promoted to be the director of engineering in Austin, Texas. And I was to report there in 6 weeks. I live here in Silicon Valley now. We did that. Turns out that not only did we do that, after 1 month in Austin, my wife says, I'm going back to California. I can't live in Austin. I'm from Houston. It's too hot. She came back to California, and I commuted 7 days in Austin, 5 days in California for 4 years. We did that, but we fixed a lot of problems in the process and just grew beyond our wildest imagination. When I left the corporate environment in 2000, after having done some amazing things for the company, all I wanted to do after making $250,000 for 25 years per year, all I wanted to do was just look back and see the legacy that I had left. And I couldn't see it. The reason why I couldn't see it was because everything that I had done was for somebody else.
Right.
And not for me. So then I wanted to become a professional golfer, to go on the senior circuit. And I went to Arizona after I left the corporate environment. Still, this legacy thing was hunting me. I thought if I could find it through professional golf. Spent 13 weeks in Arizona, $20,000. Came back to Napa, California, 4-day qualification, and I missed it by 4 points. Missed the cut by 4 points.
Mm-hmm.
But I met a gentleman along the way, a journey again, who was in the promotional products business. And he asked me to come and spend a day with him because he learned about my background. And I went to Oakland and spent a day with him, came home, laid down. 2 hours later, I woke up and wrote a 15-page business plan. Didn't know anything about that business. But just the nuance, the environment, the entrepreneurial environment,
Mm-hmm.
the entrepreneurial spirit awoken. And I created a branch, and then identified 5 regions to take his company. I became a general partner. 6 years later, we separated, and I created my own company.
And what was the name of that company?
A2Z
A2Z.
Specialty.
Okay. All right. And it was A2Z Specialty. That was the company that you started working. I say you started working with Vince, but there was a problem that you needed to solve there as well.
Absolutely.
So very quickly, just talk a little bit about just that company and the problem that you were solving, and how did you even hook up with Vince to help in that process?
I believe Vince and I were connected through the chamber, the Black Chamber of Commerce.
Mm-hmm.
Correct. Yeah.
And we were doing some things at the chamber, working on a model that we had developed at Pepperdine University, teamwork, knowledge, and ownership. And as a matter of fact, what we were doing, we were putting the chamber back on the map.
Okay.
Using that model. But the problem that I needed to solve was that how do we adapt the tools that we needed to get to a new place in the business space?
Okay.
How do we adapt the tools? How do we build the relationships? Because that's what business really comes down to. Mm-hmm. Relationship. You can sell something, but to get repeat sales, there's got to be a relationship. So how do we adapt the tools, build a relationship, and attract people to come and help us to get to the destination? Those were the problems that I was trying to solve.
Okay.
See, I could do that at corporate because I had all the capital I needed. All I had to do is convince somebody, which I was very good at doing. Mm-hmm. And so capital just flowed. In fact, we invested more in infrastructure than we did in people. Mm-hmm. But in the new space, we had to focus on people first, process second.
Mm-hmm. So, Vince, I'm gonna turn it back to you. So, you're talking with John about the problem that he's trying to solve. What was unique about what you brought into the equation that that resonated and that actually caused things to happen? Because, I mean, understanding, yes, we need to focus on people. Okay, great. How do we do that? But how did you address that issue? And how did you begin the systematic process of business development with him?
Well, when I understood his problem, which I was very adept at understanding those types of problems, having the marketing and sales background I had, I did some research, which I always did for my clients, to understand what was the context that he was trying to achieve this in, and discovered some particular things about the industry at the time. And one of the particular things that we discovered is that the promotional products salespeople were often known for not delivering on their promises.
Okay.
And so, as a result of doing some industry research, I developed a strategy for John that would leverage that weakness.
So I can go right back to you, John, because that sounds like that is a very big exposure, as you well know, and something that huge can definitely make a big impact. So once that was discovered and once that plan was implemented, how did that impact your business? How did it impact your overall organization?
That's a very good question, because that was the beginning of defining the source of the problem. Then I had to go and take a deep dive with my technical background to see if the relationships that I had with the vendors, was that in place to produce the quality that I wanted. Secondly, could we, when we define the intake process, would that support the leverage that Vince was pushing me toward? And then finally, I had to meet with all of the vendors and to look at quality control and to get them to commit to the quality standards that I needed. And then finally, I met with key customers that we had built a relationship with, repeat customers, and said to them that were I to do this, would that significantly improve your environment, your space? Would you look better? Would people view you differently? When we connected the dots on all of those pieces, as reluctant as I was to implement that leverage point that Vince was articulating, it was specifically that we would deliver your product. I don't remember whether it was 5 or 7, Vince, but
10 days. 10 days or less.
10 days or less, we will give you your money back.
Which, by the way, Kenny, scared him. We can make this real pretty, but it scared the heck out of John.
Anytime you talk about giving money back, that is going to scare anybody, especially when it's your own business. Once you start putting your own money on the line, absolutely.
Right. Yeah, definitely.
The beauty of it was that when we stepped out on faith and leaned on the things that we understood and put everything else in God's hand, we never missed a beat and never had an unhappy customer, and basically increased the revenue stream by 20 to 35%.
Wow.
And every customer was happy.
Okay. I want you to say that again. It increased the revenue stream by
20 to 35%.
See, when people start hearing those types of things, I mean, it's one thing to say, oh yeah, somebody can help me, but you have tangible results.
Yes.
Based on this. And that's what this is all about.
And testimony from the customer that, yes, you did this.
And those testimonies are key for new business, for repeat business, for retaining business, because all that says that you're able to do what you need to do. So there's a couple of things that just came out in this that I just want to reiterate. We can get information, we can get plans from anybody, and a lot of times where people fail is they get nice plans, but they're thinking that if if I'm bringing you in, that you're going to do something for me. So I'm just going to give it all to you. And that's not how business works. So measurable marketing, Vince, was able to give you something so that you could actually do something with it. But if you didn't do anything with it, it wasn't going to go anywhere.
Yeah.
But what he also gave you was something that allowed you to do what a lot of people will not do. And that is put a guarantee on the line. When you can say, I can guarantee you this, then it changes the game, because now the buck stops with you, and that changes the game of business.
Definitely.
But
And it's interesting. I don't want to cut you off. Go ahead, John. I'll make this comment.
no, I was just it just triggered a thought. When we are real with ourselves and others, the change that we're looking for occurs before the conversation has ended. And here's what I mean, and that is, people know when you're real, and when you're real and you are sincere, you can make big things happen with people, because that's when the relationship comes in. With Vince, I've got to be able to have a fierce discussion with Vince and not get my feelings hurt in the process.
Right.
Because it ain't personal in the final analysis. Well, there is a personal relationship, but business ain't personal.
Right.
And so if you can build that relationship, you can move mountains.
And that, I think that goes right back to what you were talking about, Vince, when you were talking about the real definition of business development. All of the names continue to change. In the industry that I'm in, if I were to go to any company and I were to say I'm a client success manager, they would look at me and they say, "Oh, you do sales?" No. But that's what happens to terminology.
Right.
Same thing has happened to business development, that has turned into a sales role. But what you did with A2Z Specialty is you helped develop the internal business structure.
Yes.
You gave him certain things that would actually help develop that business structure, so that what he was able to do was launch the business. You didn't launch it. Right. He was able to launch it in a much more efficient way, and that caused a lot of success. And so when you look at, Vince, when you look at what you're trying to do, what you're offering, quick 30-second elevator pitch, when you think of what you can do with business development, with new businesses, with people who are trying to start up, new founders or other entrepreneurs who are trying to start businesses, what is it that you would do for them?
Understand them, develop a strategy, and then they are then in the position, like John was, to actually marry that strategy to the structure as well as the people. It's really that simple, and out of that flows the breakthrough results.
Yeah.
So again, going back to what you said, John, it's all about relationships. So Vince, you are there to understand people. And that's one of the biggest things, is a lot of people don't understand themselves and what they're really trying to do. Yeah, they may have a product, but they don't understand their internal mechanism. So understanding them, understanding their environment, understanding what it is that they're trying to do, and then give them very specific, tangible strategies that they can implement, that they can get to that point of saying, I can guarantee this. I may not be able to guarantee the world, but I can guarantee these particular things. They may have to still do some work, but they can actually get there.
But that's the thing that made this a perfect storm, is that John had the wisdom to take the strategy and go back and finish the business development process to make sure his infrastructure had the capacity and capability to execute on it. Now, it's funny because I remember the day I gave John a 65-page plan. John took that plan. He came to my office early. He was supposed to be there at 2, and he knocked on the door, and I was talking to somebody, and I was trying to finish that conversation, and then he came in. And John, do you remember the first thing you said to me when you sat down?
No.
You said, "Vince, you enlightened me." Those are your very words. And so he followed it up by saying, "Vince, I read that plan over 2 times." And then Ken proceeded to ask me some very specific questions that would help him go forward. And so hence we're sitting here talking about a tremendous success that he had. So I'm kind of spoiled in having clients like John who has that kind of capability. But today I have, more experience and ability to help those who may not have that experience. And especially in this environment when you've got millennials who are developing their businesses who may not have that level of experience that John has, I still will be able to help them from the great experiences I had with John, as well as many others that I could share.
Well, I also think that just hearing this interview, when people come to your website, when you are interfacing with them, they will be able to see that again, it's not just a one-sided thing, that you're not going to make them successful. You're going to give them the tools for them to be successful. So it's really going to be up to them. So I want to bring this to a close. This has been great. I could do this for the next 2 hours, actually. I could learn so much from you, John. I'm sure we'll be talking at some other time. But again, I want to thank you for coming on. Vince, thank you for coming on as well. This has been real educational for me. And I really look forward to seeing how other people are going to implement measurable marketing within their businesses and how they're going to be able to be successful with this. So again, thank you very much. And we'll close this interview.
Perfect.
Thank you.